Are we live?
Yes, we are. How you doing, TJ?
What's
How's
going
it
on?
going? Welcome
I'm
to
good.
NYYANKEE Mania and Total
Thank you so
Turnbuckle
much.
Talk.
Thank you so much,
How's it
everyone, for
going?
tuning in. Welcome back to Total Turnbuckle Talk and New York Yankee Mania. We just got straight off of SmackDown and new advancements in the Last Time Is Now tournament. We will briefly go over those. How you doing today, Joe?
Doing all right. Very excited with our guest. Our
You
guest
do?
of honor
Yes.
tonight is former Wwf ring announcer, radio announcer, you name it. He did everything with them. And we're going to bring up Lou Edwards right now. I have not seen him in person in almost, I would say, around 30 years. And believe me, folks, he hasn't changed a bit. He's the greatest guy. Let's bring him up. How you doing, Lou Edwards?
Woo! Well, how will I ever live up to that introduction? Guys, I'm happy to be here to talk wrestling right after SmackDown. Don't tell me the results because I'm 2 episodes behind. How dare I? Oh, my goodness.
Well, how's it going? And first of all, Lou, thank you so much for coming on our show. That's number one. Number two, TJ, this is Lou Edwards. Lou Edwards, TJ from Total Turnbuckle.
Nice to meet you, sir. Nice to meet you.
I got to ask you, TJ, how old are you right now?
I am 14, going to be 15.
Okay, so you beat me because it was a half century ago, 50 years ago, when I debuted on WHBI-FM as the voice of the Monday Night Wrestling Show. When I was 16 years old. That's how Joey and I met. And,
oh, wow.
And my dad had to sign the contract for me to be on the radio because I was underage. But you beat me, TJ, by 2 years.
That's
wow.
Awesome. That is awesome. Well, we want to start the show. First of all, I want to say hello to everybody. John K, how you doing? Wendy, welcome abroad. Bob
Wendy.
Rizzo, how you doing? Chef Nick, how's everything going? Teresa, how are you? Ava, how you doing? We got the gang all here. Sean Browning, how's it going? So we do have quite a few people on here, Lou. They definitely looking forward to a lot of the things you have to say. So let's start off. How did you get involved, and when did it start for you?
So as a teenager, I was a big wrestling fan. This is way back before Hulk Hogan. This is in the days of Bruno Sammartino, Andre the Giant, George the Animal Steele. Here's Bruno, right? And I was a teenager and loved wrestling. And my parents tried to encourage my hobby of wrestling. There was this Monday night wrestling show on a New York City station called WHBI-FM. It's still around. It plays classical music now. But back then, it was listener-sponsored radio. So you could actually go and get sponsors and do your own talk show or Caribbean music show or what have you. And there was a guy named Happy Holiday, and he did this Monday night wrestling show. There was actually a few incarnations, and I would listen, call in, try to get on the air and ask a question about wrestling. This was half a century ago. Then, Joey and TJ, one day, the new hosts of the Monday Night Wrestling Show, something called The Wide World of Wrestling, asked me, and when I call in, they asked me if I was going to be attending an upcoming wrestling show and if I could get the results, if I could try to be a reporter, maybe get an interview backstage. And being the overzealous New Yorker, even though I was still a teenager, just like TJ, I said, let me go do it. So I asked my dad to take me out to Westchester County Center in White Plains, New York, a small little arena where I remember that night, I don't remember the card, but I do remember getting a backstage interview on my little Panasonic cassette recorder. Cost me $39 back then. You remember those cassette recorders from way back when? And I was able to sit down on the staircase backstage with 601-pound Haystacks Calhoun.
Oh, wow.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah. So, wow. That was the first wrestling interview I ever did. And the guy was very friendly, very nice. I was so proud. And I called up the radio station. I called up, back then, my soon-to-be friends, Jay Rosen and Jimmy Mack. And they had just started this Monday Night Wrestling show. They'd taken it over from Happy Holiday, I believe. And they said, wow, you got an interview with Haystacks Calhoun? That's amazing. Maybe we'll play it on the air. They said, are you going to the Nassau Coliseum next Monday night? And if so, can you get us the results? If you do that, you can come down as a reporter, come down to the radio station, be in the studio, and say hello to we have thousands of people that listen to the wrestling show because there's nothing like it. And we report on all the matches all up and down the Eastern Seaboard. Now, remember, this is before Vince McMahon Jr. Sealed the deal buying the federation from his dad and taking wrestling not only nationwide, but eventually worldwide. So this is at the very start of wrestling when it was back on the late night UHF channels, eventually then on Channel 9. But this was a cult following, not big crowds. The champion himself, Bruno, that you have on the screen now, only made $100,000 a year. I guess back then it was like $1 million, right? But
yeah,
there wasn't a lot of big money or big attendances wrestling. They had the territories and all the different areas of the country. And Vince's goal was to take over the wrestling world, as he eventually did. We were just fans following the wrestlers. And now I'm in the radio station. And I thought, so immediately I've got illusions of grandeur. I'm thinking I'm going to be a big star on the radio when actually the hosts, Jay and Jimmy, just basically let me say a few words. Hey, we've got Louis the Voice from Brooklyn, New York here, so say a few words to the fans. I said, hey, everybody. That was it. I maybe said 3 words, and that was the beginning and end of my wrestling career. But that's how it all started, and then I got the bug. I loved wrestling so much, and I just said, whatever I need to do to break into this. So how do I do ring announcing? Well, kid, you got to go to the New York State Athletic Commission and get your ring announcer's license. And all these things, again, I'm underage, so my dad had to sign for me. The contract for my own radio show, my dad had to go down to the station, sign for me. Getting sponsors, we did that. I remember a couple of guys in Brooklyn, promoters named Tommy D and Cha-Cha.
Yeah.
And they were going to put a big wrestling show on. Again, we're still in the late 70s now. At the Brooklyn Roll-A-Rama. Brooklyn Roll-A-Rama on 86th Street in Bensonhurst, Brooklyn.
Yep.
And the main event was going to be George the Animal Steel. I don't know if you got those pictures, TJ. George the Animal Steel versus the Polish Power, Ivan Putski. There he is. And very few people knew that he actually was a college professor when he wasn't wrestling and school was in season. He actually taught at University of Michigan, I believe. And a very, very well-educated and very, very nice man with a green tongue, a wide-eyed, animalistic stare. He used to chew the turnbuckles and create havoc wherever he went. He was a big star for many years. And that night in Brooklyn, he was going to be in the main event against the Polish Power, Ivan Putski. And I get to ring announce that and the entire card at Brooklyn Roll-A-Rama. Now, I will tell you, so now I've got my ring announcer's license. I think I paid like $25 or $50 for that. And that was exciting. And now I could do ring announcing, right? But actually, before I talk about that story, I want to go back. To the first, the second live card after meeting Haystacks Calhoun that I got invited to with someone who's probably on this stream right now, Bob DJ Rizzo. It's the first time I ever met Bob, another Brooklynite, along with Jay Rosen and Jimmy Mack. And we're at Sunnyside Gardens in Queens, in Elmhurst, Queens. And Sunnyside Gardens, we're sitting somehow, not front row, but in front of the front row at the press table where there's the timekeeper at the bell.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know how we wound up there, but there we are. So we're right at the ring. At the ring. And one of the main events I remember was Sonny King. I think he was teaming with SD Jones. and going against Toru Tanaka and Mr. Fuji, the Japanese tag team. In that match, Fuji reaches into his trunks and throws salt into Sonny King's eyes. Sonny flies through the ropes onto the press table and right onto me, and down on my knee, and I go tumbling on the floor. And for the next 2 weeks, I have this big black and blue mark to show off to all my friends in Brooklyn that Sonny King fell on me after getting salt thrown in his eyes in a main event match at Sunnyside Gardens. That night, I met Ernie Roth, who was the Grand Wizard of Wrestling, and other, famous names from that era. This was just amazing, and Bob and I became good friends, and I was somehow integrated more into that Monday night radio show as kind of a third voice, as a little bit of a color commentator, as a backstage interviewer, as ring announcer. And I think for a while I was on the side of the bad guys and kind of making fun of my co-host, trying to be a mini Howard Stern before Howard Stern took over New York. Yeah. So that was me. This was 50 years ago, and I was in absolute heaven. So now I want to fast forward and go to the night in Brooklyn Roller-Rama where I'm the ring announcer for George Steele versus Ivan the Polish Power Putski. So one thing, Steele, and nothing of this is prearranged, nothing is scripted. This is all ad-libbed and impromptu. I was a big fan at the time of Chevy Chase when he would do those monologues on Saturday Night Live, and he would do the fall down the steps and crash to the floor. I don't know if you remember that. You're too young to remember that, TJ. So Steele says to me, "Whatever you do, Lou, don't call me the animal. Call me Mr. George Steele." And so I remember, this is one of my best memories of wrestling back in the late 70s. I said, "Okay, sir, no problem." And so there I am. I'm wearing like a tux or some ill-fitting suit or a tux or something. I'm getting paid $50 to do the ring announcing for that evening. And I would have gladly paid Tommy D'Inchacha $50 just for the privilege to be, I think I was not even 18 years old at the time. And here I am doing ring announcing, for the main event in Brooklyn Roller-Rama, for the whole card. And so I'm in the ring, and ladies and gentlemen, from Krakow, Poland, at 285 pounds, the Polish Power, Ivan Putski. Okay, and his opponent from wherever, Detroit, Michigan, 301 pounds. They call him the animal. I'm sorry, sir, Mr. George Steele. But I'd already said the animal, and he said, "Don't call me the animal." So what happens is he starts rolling that green tongue, stalking me, and I know what's coming next. I'm against the ropes. I'm holding the mic in my hand. I'm trembling because he's got this wide-eyed glare. He takes a running leap at me with a clothesline like this. I telegraphed the move, and I wasn't tall enough to go over the top rope, but I did go through the middle rope. Now he barely grazed me as I go flying through the ropes, onto the press table, over the chairs, down on the cement floor, and I play.
Oh my God!
This is what's called in the industry a pop. So this huge pop, the audience goes wild, and they're all on their feet, booing and jeering. They're throwing beer cups and cans and everything into the ring, and the audience is going nuts, and I'm laying out cold on the cement floor.
I remember. I was there,
Were you there, Joey?
Of course I was there, but I didn't know you yet.
And we didn't know each other yet. So now they send the stretcher. This is completely unscripted, completely unrehearsed. They send the stretcher to carry me back to the dressing room by stretcher. And I'm playing the part. I'm so proud of this because the audience is going wild. And now I'm backstage. I jump off of the stretcher, and all the wrestlers back there are high-fiving me. One guy, I'm trying to remember, he tried to set fire to my shoes as a practical joke, but that's an aside. But this everyone's like, "Wow, what a pop you got, Lou. Did you plan this with George, or with Putski? And I said, no, totally ad-libbed. So they're like, Lou, you're a natural for this, right? And this was like one of my fondest memories of that and getting Sonny King falling on top of me. There was just so many amazing memories. Like I said, I would have paid $50 for the privilege of being able to tell this story 50 years later. But just to be in this was absolutely outrageous. I think that as time went on, I did everything from backstage interviews, color commentary, the radio show, of course, wound up doing my own show on another evening.
The record?
Oh, the record, A Night at the Garden, which I think it's a collector's item available on eBay somewhere. What else did we do? So my buddies, Bob, who should be on the streaming right now, Jay Rosen and Jimmy Mack, may he rest in peace. We put on 2 annual wrestling fans conventions.
Yep.
One at the Summit Hotel in Midtown Manhattan and the other one at the Americana Hotel. And I think we charged something like $7 or $8 a ticket. And we had feats of strength, and we had bodybuilders, and we had pro wrestlers, and we had demonstrations, and we had autograph signings. And we got a lot of, we had some A-list names and a bunch of B-listers. And I remember wrestling duo Mark Tendler and Kitty Adams that came down. I remember we were able to get, much to the dismay of Vince McMahon Jr., who was a real junior at the time, real young man, just trying to follow in his father's footsteps and take over the wrestling business. And I remember getting Captain Lou Albano, Classy Freddie Blassie. We had S.D. Jones. We had Ivan Putski. And as far as Albano and Blassie and Putski appearing at our convention, Vince McMahon said, do not go. These guys are rogue. These guys are not officially sanctioned by me. They're not officially sanctioned by the WWF. They're fans putting on a radio show. They're fans putting on a convention. They're really not they're not on our payroll. They're independent operators, and we don't really want you to deal with them because we're building our brand, not the Monday Night Wrestling show with Lou, Jay, and Jimmy. But you know what? Putski said, I'm coming anyway. Blassie and Albano said, I'm coming anyway. The other wrestlers said, I'm coming anyway. So they were huge successes. We didn't make a lot of money because we only charged $7 a ticket, but we made a lot of wrestling fans happy. And now I will tell you a story I don't think I've ever mentioned publicly in my entire life.
All right, go for it.
Should I, or should I go to the grave with it? What do you think?
No, go for it.
Tell us.
You sure we have time for secrets?
Don't worry, we got to 11.
Okay. So, Ivan Putski thinks I'm a prick. Ivan Putski thinks I screwed him. And we ended, even though I did ring announcing between him and George Steele, we ended not on very good terms. And I will reveal why. See, it's outside of the Americana Hotel when Putski ended his appearance at our fans convention that he came to me to get paid. I was under the understanding that he and Albano and Blassie all agreed to come in return for $100. So let's say they spent 20 minutes or a half hour or even an hour there. We didn't make a lot of money. We're very young, not really doing this as a business, doing it for the love of the sport. And so I thought I owed them $100 each. So I had $100 for Albano. I had $100 for Blassie. Thanked them for coming. But Putski came up to me and said, where's my pay? Now, he was the top drawer, obviously, for that day. And I had the $100 in my hand from ticket sales. And he says, I was promised $400. Now, apparently my partners didn't let me in on the fact that they promised him more money than we actually had to be able to pay. And I said, we didn't really take in that much money, and we had a lot of expenses, and we're just paying everybody $100. And I paid Putski the $100. He actually grabbed me by the collar, called me a prick, took the $100 and said that I cheated him and screwed him, and he wants to get paid the rest of his money.
Oh, wow.
This is a true story. I felt very, very bad about this. And it was obviously some kind of a miscommunication, because if I had agreed to pay him $400 and I had the $400, I would have paid that. But I felt very, very bad that I let him down, because I was a big Putski fan. And we never spoke after that again. Even though some of my Ivan Putski posters and photos and paraphernalia was sold subsequently at Madison Square Garden, New Haven Coliseum, Philadelphia Spectrum, Boston Gardens, as I would travel up and down the East Coast with the wrestlers, following the wrestling matches and doing my thing, right? But that was a bad thing to end on with Putski. And I'm revealing this. It's just something that happened. You know, what can you do? I'd say that the good outweighed the bad, because I got to hang out with Andre the Giant at the Hotel McAlpin bar after the Madison Square Garden matches. And there's Andre. And Andre could drink a whole lot of beers and eat a whole lot of food.
Yeah, I've heard about that. Yeah.
Unbelievable. He was the nicest, friendliest guy, sometimes a little bit too much to drink, but he was the gentle giant. And I got to hang out with Andre the Giant at the Hotel McAlpin. I got to go into road stops, restaurants and rest stops on the Jersey Turnpike and other roads all around the East Coast with some of these wrestlers, with Captain Lou Albano, with Freddie Blassie, coming back from matches and stopping for a bite to eat, and see the fan reaction to these fantastic personalities. And just some of them off camera were just gentle, sweet people.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Very nice. Maybe the opposite of the personality that their persona. And some of them stayed in persona. I remember one night interviewing Larry Zbyszko, Bruno Sammartino's protege, up at the radio station, WHBI-FM, which was on 80th Street and Broadway in Manhattan. We had thousands of fans that would listen and write letters. And
I was one of them.
You were one of them. That's right. And I remember outside in the street, it's like the radio show was really late. It was like 12:30 at night or 1 o'clock in the morning. We had thousands of listeners. And I remember one night interviewing Larry Zbyszko, come out of the radio station out onto 80th Street and Riverside Drive.
Yep.
And I accidentally say something that you should never, ever say to anybody in pro wrestling, and that's, everybody knows that wrestling is fake.
Oh, no.
Yeah, I was that guy that everybody knows that wrestling is fake, right? Is that the stupidest thing you could ever say?
Yep.
To Larry Zbyszko? Because these wrestlers are so incredibly conditioned and take such incredible bumps and are so strong and trained for so many, the blood, sweat, and the years that go by for them to make it, in the top ranks of wrestling. So you can't insult them like that. And I remember Larry Zbyszko taking me in his arms, lifting me up over his shoulders, doing an airplane spin with my little frail body, and going to give me a body slam onto the cement of Broadway out in the middle of Manhattan. And he catches me with one hand under my back and another hand under my head, catches me as I'm about to land about 3 inches from the cement. I almost crapped in my pants. And I said, Larry, I'm sorry. I didn't mean it. It's not fake. It's real.
Oh, wow.
You're real. Sorry. I was so, another embarrassing moment of stupidity.
Well, you know what, Lou, at that time, they were so trained that, they even had, like Bruno Sammartino actually, really believed. I had the pleasure of interviewing and having on a show in the early '90s, Bruno, and they did it on purpose because he believed in all of this stuff. He really did. I mean, he said, "Look at my face, look at my ears," and they even told him they wanted to fix it, and he said, "Absolutely not." And he says, "This is me. This is my living. I am not changing that. I'm not going to be somebody that I'm not." And the one thing that I don't think that the wrestling fans understand, Lou, and maybe you can explain this, they were falling on concrete. Now they're falling on, mats and the rings are softer. They went through hell. And, regardless if it was fake or not, they were going home bruised. Could you imagine Hulk Hogan in the 70s? He would have had 50 operations.
Yeah, it was rough and tumble. Not that it's that luxurious now, but back then, the cement, the rings, you were taking some very, very hard bumps. They wore their scars like badges of honor. Yeah. They had to wrestle several nights a week, be on the road constantly, away from their families. They still do, except now they get paid millions instead of a few hundred or a few $1,000s, right? And when someone would say that wrestling isn't real, you wouldn't want to get in the ring and tangle with any of these guys. They were so superbly conditioned and strong, and they worked out constantly. And many sports athletes couldn't do the things that these wrestlers have learned to do, to perfect. It's a combination of calisthenics, acrobatics, strength, endurance, showmanship, and sports entertainment. So yeah, these wrestlers, a lot of them had surgeries, injuries that ended their careers, had illnesses because of how brutal the business was. So it while it may have looked fake, there was so many aspects it was so real that you wouldn't want to trade places with them. It was fun being the voice of the Monday night wrestling show on WHBI-FM 50 years ago and being a ring announcer and interviewing some of the wrestlers and telling these stories. But would I want to trade places and get in the ring and get thrown off of a cage like Mankind, Mick Foley did several times?
Versus the Undertaker?
Right, during the Undertaker. Good, that's right.
And I mean, to an extent, The Rock. To an extent.
Look at The Rock. Look how far The Rock has come. John Cena, Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Mm-hmm.
For every one of these top names that have broken through and become household names, there are 1,000 that you've never heard of.
Louis, I have a big question for you. I don't mean to interrupt, but I think it's something the fans would love to hear, and TJ. So my understanding, the little bit that I was backstage then, you want to, I don't know if you want to say it, but how the two wrestlers would know who was going to win, who was going to lose, and how did the referee get involved? Are you able to tell this? Because, I mean, I know the truth, but I don't want, I don't know if you want to leak it out.
There are certain things a magician doesn't reveal about how the trick is done. These days, it's a lot more polished in that the referees have earpieces.
Yes.
There are stage managers around the ring. There are so many more people involved in the act that they can change the trajectory of a match on the fly. If a move goes bad, if something goes wrong, if the audience doesn't react the way they predict they will. Back then, there was a lot more ad-libbing. There'd be a little bit of rehearsal. Each wrestler has a certain set of moves, finishing moves, rebuttals. It goes back and forth. One gets the upper hand, the other gets the upper hand. But back then, it was a lot more flying by the seat of your pants. But of course, everything's predetermined. Now it's like a Broadway show production. You know this, Joey.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's so much more polished, so much more rehearsed, but the part where they have more leeway and more mojo even is the promos on microphone.
Yeah.
If you think about the way promos were done even 10, 20, 30 years ago, it was still good guy versus bad guy, the face versus the heel. And there were clear lines drawn in who the audience would cheer for. Now, since I think Stone Cold, or what would you say, Joey? Who was it The Rock? Was it Stone Cold? Who was it that blurred the lines between babyface and heel? Who was it that was not all good and was not all bad? And
Stone Cold.
Yeah, it's definitely Stone Cold. I mean, he was the face of not only that Attitude Era, not only the Attitude Era, but just truly a fan favorite, regardless whether he was a face or a heel. They just wanted to see him destroy people, regardless.
Right. And when he came out and said, Austin 316 just kicked your ass, that something changed in pro wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
And now you didn't have to just play one part in one role and be either a face or a heel. Now there could be the heel that everybody loved to cheer. How about Roddy Piper? That's going back.
Yeah.
But as far as the actual structure of these matches, if you watch SmackDown, you watch Monday Night Raw, you watch some of the pay-per-views or Saturday Night's Main Event, you'll see some of the matches with the high flyers, the luchadors, are pretty good matches with wrestlers that really know how to wrestle. And it's more about the wrestling than the story. But then you have many matches where they're building storylines. And now you have to have more of a structured match. And how is the person going to win? And they do work that out with each other beforehand and with the writers and the producers and so forth. But they can change on the fly because the referee has an earpiece in his ear to help things along in case the wrestler forgets what's happening next. The ring announcer, there's a stage manager, even Michael Cole and whomever is assisting him. They're all involved with it. And people in the gorilla position backstage that are doing the multi-camera, that are directing the multi-camera shoots. Zoom in, go high, zoom in here, stay here. Because there are things happening live in the arena that you don't want to show on camera. And there are other things that you want to accentuate. And now that you have these multi-camera, multi-million-dollar shows, you can actually produce a wrestling show for TV as if it was a Broadway show on Broadway.
I don't know if you have watched Unreal on Netflix yet.
Yes.
But that show completely and totally showcases the gorilla position backstage, as well as unfolding and taking back the curtain and showing exactly how everything is done, from the earpieces to how matches are staged and how they figure out who's going to win, and if wrestlers actually don't like each other backstage. Yeah, the matches are staged, but
predetermined.
They are predetermined, but there are some real rivalries backstage that definitely play a part in how these matches turn out. Like, for one example would be Hulk Hogan and Shawn Michaels. Backstage, Hulk Hogan didn't want to lose the match in that three-way battle, and Hulk Hogan got his way, but Shawn Michaels, he was being petty and he just sold his butt off the entire match. That's what one of those examples of real backstage stuff leaking in to wrestling. It's not all fake, as people would say, but there is definitely an element of realness to it.
What a great historian you are, TJ. That's right. The overselling of Shawn Michaels, right? The egos of both he and Hulk Hogan. That's a classic example. Another one, how about Bret the Hitman Hart with the Montreal Screwjob?
Oh, Montreal Screwjob, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Montreal Screwjob, right? There are wrestlers over the decades backstage that weren't cared for by their fellow wrestlers because they weren't too thrilled to put someone else over. You know, it's
Yes.
You want to win, but when it's time for you to lose and put someone else over, you have to be a gentleman or a lady and do it with grace. And a lot of them don't. Now, others are very good natured. They call them locker room leaders, people that hold hands and say grace or say a prayer before they go to the ring, people that have each other's back, people that are happy to put someone else over. But as in human nature, as in real life outside of wrestling, some will, some won't. It just is what it is. And so you have your favorites, you have your people with the real feuds. And now I think what happens these days, and I've been out of wrestling for a long time, so this is highly subjective, is that the promoters will say, you know, Triple H will say, okay, this little conversation that went on backstage about how you feel about each other, you know, let's say LA Knight, whatever, you know, doesn't want to mince words. Take it out there and expand that on the microphone. Yeah. Let the audience feel what you're feeling all these years. You know, Punk, you've been waiting to come back. The Cody story, finishing his story. Punk finally getting the title. All of these things, now fans realize real life ambitions and goals leaking in front of the cameras.
Yes.
Now the wrestlers are allowed to get cerebral, to get psychological about it, to be vulnerable, to share, right?
Yeah.
And I think the fans have evolved enough that they're pretty cool with that. It's not just a scripted facade. You can almost believe that if you were Punk, if you were Drew McIntyre that just screwed yourself again out of a championship opportunity by doing something stupid, you know, you can identify with that. You can identify. Oh, I love the latest character, Becky Lynch.
Oh, you know, Becky Lynch, yeah.
Becky. A lot of people say that I'm the greatest female wrestler of all time.
It's not just me saying it; it's Sports Illustrated as well.
Sports Illustrated says it, and the Sportskeeda says it, and so says it. And even though she's got that well rehearsed, it's such a great persona, right?
Yeah.
As the woman fans love to hate.
Yeah. Another example that I also wanted to bring up of real life beef spilling into this predetermined thing that we classify wrestling as is John Cena refusing to drop the title to Jack Swagger. That's one of the another example of that. There was if you guys don't know in the chat, there was a situation. I think it was a while ago when John Cena was the champion at the time. But Jack Swagger had the Money in the Bank briefcase, and he was the original plan was for him to cash in on John Cena and win the title. But John Cena said, "No, I'm not going to drop the title to this guy." And Jack Swagger actually ended up cashing in on the World Heavyweight Champion and winning the World Heavyweight Championship instead.
That's another great story. And again, TJ, boy, do you know your stuff.
He learned from the best.
Oh my goodness. And
I'm not that bad, you know.
So I was away from being a wrestling fan for, I think, about 10 or 15 years. I only recently came back to it in the last few years. And I like what they're doing these days. Again, it's a lot more slick, a lot more polished, a lot more money behind it, and a lot more multimillionaire wrestlers being made, you know, around the world. And look, it's going global. It's amazing. So I have some questions for you guys I want to ask.
Well, Lou, before we do that, still a little bit more about you. Okay. I want the fans to know exactly, because you got a wonderful, beautiful Facebook page and what you do. Can you give us a minute or two what you do and what people can look for, and what you're promoting, what's going on in the life of Lou Edwards right now?
So that's very kind of you to ask, Joey and TJ. So what happened is I spent 4 years the 4 most fun years of my life, probably from age 16 to 20, as doing the radio show and ring announcing and also selling wrestling items at the arenas and all things wrestling. And then at the end of 4 years, this is right before Hulk Hogan came on the scene, my well-meaning friends and family said, Lou, why don't you go get a real job? Wrestling is never going to be big. It's a weird cult thing late at night on the UHF channels, maybe Channel 9. You're never going to make a living with wrestling. So why don't you go get a real job? So I got out of wrestling. My timing couldn't be worse. And I got out of wrestling right before Hulk Hogan and Vince McMahon Jr. turned it into the multi-billion-dollar global, juggernaut that it is today. And the moral of the story, by the way, is never take advice from anyone whose lives you wouldn't want to have. So that was wrong advice. I got out and I became, for the next 20 years, I became a blind man. Window treatments. Window blinds. By the way, how do you make a Venetian blind? Poke them in the eyes. And if you don't buy verticals from us, it's going to be curtains for you. Well, that was my life for the next 20 years in New York, in the 5 boroughs, selling slipcovers, vertical blinds, and window treatments to people and measuring their windows and showing them samples. And that was boring as heck. It certainly wasn't as much fun as being thrown out of the ring by George the Animal Steel.
Was that called Carefree?
No, there was originally Comfort covers and then Galaxy slip covers and then eventually a bunch of other names. But
yes,
that's what I did for about 23 years. Then I had a midlife Chrysler. It was a Sebring convertible. I decided enough of making a living. It's time that I started making a life. So I did a career change and got out of the blinds business in Brooklyn, New York, and started a cruise event planning company, reinventing myself as Captain Lou, CFO, Chief Fun Organizer of a company called SpecialEventsAtSea.com. And what we did, starting 20 years ago, this is my third career, wrestling, blinds, and cruises. Now with the cruises, it's a lot of fun. It's the most fun that I've had since the wrestling days, because I get to do event planning, online marketing, and to facilitate for hundreds of people, mostly entrepreneurs, marketers, and business people, where we do conferences, conventions, and seminars on these big, massive cruise ships, like on Carnival and Royal Caribbean and Virgin and Norwegian and Celebrity, all these big, giant cruise lines that you see all over. I've been on over 70 cruises on ships around the world, and I produce these events for people, just like we did the wrestling summit, the wrestling fans convention 50 years ago in Manhattan in a ballroom in Manhattan. Mm-hmm. Now I take these kind of conferences and seminars and expos, and I do them on cruise ships. And we have anywhere from 100 to 800 people at a time coming from around the world. I get to be MC, announcer, co-host, event planner, internet marketer. We do Zooms and we do streaming videos for our audiences all the time.
Joe, there's a picture. Joe. I put a picture in there.
There's a picture. You did you Google me? Did you find me?
I did.
I don't see it.
Investigator TJ on the scene.
It's there. You gotta scroll down. Maybe it's there. I see it.
But and you can go to CaptainLou.com and find out more about it. There I am, Captain Lou Edwards, CFO, Chief Fund Organizer of Special Events at Sea, and I've reinvented myself. And by the way, the Captain Lou thing is paying respects to, may he rest in peace, my old friend Captain Lou Albano. Yeah. And so now they call me Captain Lou. I wear the hat. And now I'm the MC and co-host of many. I just got back off of a cruise to the Bahamas with 446 people.
Nice.
That, with a bunch of travel enthusiasts. We've done everything from murder mysteries to martial arts. We've done dental conferences, marketing, Amazon e-commerce, everything imaginable. We have not done the Wrestle Vessel yet, but I know that Chris Jericho was a big part of that, right?
Yeah.
And there are wrestling cruises. But my thing is more for business and entrepreneurship. And so you can learn more about what I do at specialeventsatsea.com. I'm booked up solid for the next 2 years. We kind of only do at this point $1 million contracts, so it's not like selling cruises to regular vacationers. But I've hit my stride. It's taken, honestly, Joey and TJ, it's taken me about 50 plus years to become an overnight success.
Oh wow!
Isn't that the story? It's a lot of blood, sweat, and years that you put into things, and now, going down the highway of Route age 66. Get it? Route 66, age 66.
You're still a young man.
We're young. How old are you, Joey?
I don't want to say it on the air.
He doesn't want to say it on the air, but I just revealed that I was sexy 5, and now I'm going down Route 66.
All right.
But anyway,
so I was born in 62, so you can figure it out.
Who's good at math? TJ, you good at math?
Sure.
62. I was born in 59, so I've got a couple of years on you. And people ask me, when am I going to retire? So go ahead, ask me that question.
When are you going to retire?
Joey, I think I am going to retire approximately 2 weeks after I die.
Oh, jeez. Don't say it.
When you love what you do, you never work a day in your life. I loved being the voice of the Monday Night Wrestling Show 50 years ago on WHBI-FM and running around with people like Andre the Giant and Ivan Putski, even though he's still mad at me if he's still around. I don't know if Putski would still be alive now, right? Wait.
Yeah, he is. I just saw him in an interview.
Is he?
He is, yeah.
Oh, yeah?
He's 87 or 88 now.
Oh, my. I got to call him up. You know what? I got to call him up. And maybe I should send them a check for $300. What do you guys think?
I think we should bring him on the show and we can discuss this.
Oh my, can you imagine this? Memories from 50 years ago? Oh my goodness. But I want to ask you before we end this here, I want to ask each of you, with all the storylines happening, with WrestleMania coming back to Vegas and then going over to Abu Dhabi the next year, with Seth Rollins being sidelined for a little while, with the last matches of John Cena, your hero, TJ. Where do you see, there you go, where do you, each of you, see wrestling going in the immediate near future, leading up to WrestleMania, and in the long run? I want to hear, I want you to look in the crystal ball and tell the old timer what's new that you see in that crystal ball.
All right, Joe, you can go first.
No, you're the youngster. You go first.
All right, okay. I'll go first. Okay. Here's where I think wrestling is going in the future. It is I want to preface this by saying it's a very complicated question, especially with the upper management, Triple H, and especially the new addition of TKO. Now,
TJ, is Triple H and TKO, are they better for wrestling, for the storylines and everything than Vince was, or do you miss old Vince?
No, that's
okay. I will say the storylines that Vince put on were marvels. They were quite interesting. But I do love some of the stuff that Triple H is booking now as chief content officer. He's doing a fantastic job. The only really thing that I really don't like about TKO, and I actually made a whole video about this on my channel if you guys want to go check it out. I made a whole video about this. It was about the crazy amount of advertisements, especially, you load up SmackDown like tonight and you see people going through tables branded with Slim Jim on both sides of the table. What are we doing here? That's crazy. What are we doing? Are we snapping through it like a Slim Jim? I don't get it. It's ridiculous. You have ads that are going during the matches. Now, I will say,
I hate that. I
Yeah,
hate that.
it's
The
so
split
dumb
screen. I hate the split screen.
because you can't hear it, so it's so dumb. Quick side note: when that happened one time, it was John Cena versus Sami Zayn on his last SmackDown, and they did the split screen, and you couldn't hear the "You Can't See Me," the 5 knuckle shuffle. It was ridiculous. That's not fair. But that's a different tangent. But I'm glad that they don't do like that 3-minute long advertising segment during PLE matches. I'm
Right.
glad they don't do that because
They
that's
do it
something
on
that
Raw.
they do it on Raw and SmackDown, yeah. Because they're televised on Netflix and Hulu. But I it's like I where I see wrestling going now is I think that wrestling still has a long way to go. Triple H is doing a good job, arguably, because I mean, the stuff that he's doing now, unveiling the curtain, is something that Vince McMahon would never do. He would never do that. He
He
would
would
never
never do.
unveil.
He would never do Unreal.
Yeah, exactly. He would never do Unreal. He would never pull back the curtain and show you exactly what's going on behind the scenes, how things are planned. Like it, yeah, that would never happen. I see a comment from Kevin Hill here. He says, as long as Paul Heyman is an on-air talent, things will continue to grow the right way. Paul Heyman is a very valuable asset to the WWE right now. He is probably the best manager in the company, the most engaging manager. I could put Paul Heyman up there maybe with Paul Bearer. They're both so good.
Oh, what a celebrity death match that would be. Paul Heyman against Paul Bearer. Can you imagine? And you know something, TJ? That's not a prediction.
That's a spoiler.
Well, Louis, I got to tell you, I mean, it went too fast. I mean, you've got to come back. You got to make time.
This has been fantastic.
You got to make
Thank
time.
you so much.
And I think if you, TJ, and myself called the Survivor Series, I think the fans would absolutely love it. And you know, you could be we talking between the matches, call the matches, go. You know, actually,
I think we should go to where is Survivor Series this November?
San Diego, pretty sure.
San Diego, California.
Yeah.
I really believe you could call the people in the ring. We could just be there. We'll go with your beat. I think it'll be a tremendous show. But if you can do that, Lou, we would love it. We'll simulcast it. We'll do whatever it takes. But you've got to come back on this show.
I try to get out, but these guys, they keep pulling me back in.
Pulling me in.
They're pulling me in. Joey and TJ, I want to thank you for inviting me onto your island of relevancy this hour, because this is the island of relevancy.
Like WWE 2K25, the island of relevancy.
Well,
I think everyone in the audience knows that reference, right?
I want to say one thing. You had mentioned about where wrestling's going to go.
Wait, we got TJ's take. What about your take?
Well, mine is very simple, Lou, and it's this. I don't care who's running the show, but can we have the good matches? Now I'm going to get upset. Can we have the good matches without anybody running in? I want a clean win. If you're going to be in a world title match, I want to see John Cena against so-and-so without any bum coming out of the locker room.
You know what? I agree. We have more than 20% run-ins. That's not good interference. I want to ask TJ, who's the biggest Cena fan on earth, what will happen? Who will be the last match? And what will happen in Washington, D.C. on December? Is it December 13th?
Yes, December 13th, yes.
That my dad, by the way, was born on Friday, the 13th of December, 1897. Not my granddad, my dad, and my mom on April Fool's Day. But on December 13th, TJ and Joey, what will happen in the last match? Who's the opponent? What will happen? And will Donald Trump be any part of the proceedings?
And
Okay.
Vince McMahon.
First, before I answer that, I do want to just very briefly return to the topic of run-ins. I think run-ins right now are completely overused. They're completely overused. I'm not gonna spoil it. But in the main event of SmackDown, there was run-ins inevitably because that's just what happens on SmackDown and everything all the time. But I was there at WrestleMania 40, and the match between Cody Rhodes, Roman Reigns, where John Cena, The Rock, Undertaker, and Solo Sikoa came out. That might be my favorite WWE match of all time, and that might be biased because I was there. But it was magical. You have these legends coming out completely unexpected. It was amazing. It was one of the best memories ever. Especially, like Kevin Hill says here, run-ins are overused but are beneficial because you don't want to have your top guys look weak and take clean pins all the time. Exactly what Kevin's saying here, 100%.
Yes.
But to answer your question about John Cena and his last match on December 13th, and where is it? I forget. Where is it?
Washington, D.C.
Washington, D.C.
Capital.
Yes. So there's a good chance it's Gunther. There's a good chance that it's Rusev. I will say I'm glad that they had him face Dominic Mysterio and made him that Grand Slam champion before he retired, because if he retired with not being a Grand Slam champion, that would be an atrocity. He's the greatest WWE wrestler, in my opinion, of all time. He's done so much for the business. He has to be.
Do you agree? Do you agree with TJ?
No.
You don't agree?
Nope.
Who is the greatest wrestler of all time, WWE?
Well, you know who that is. I don't even have to tell you.
He's going to say Bruno Sammartino.
There's not even a thought.
Yeah.
He would kill any one of these guys.
Dream match, John Cena versus Bruno Sammartino.
Oh, God.
Let's see it.
Bruno would have him for lunch. But my last match, only my prediction, is going to be John Cena against Chris Jericho.
Ooh.
Yeah, I see that.
And before anything else, guys, the next time we're together, no more men talk. We're going to talk WWE lady wrestlers, women wrestlers, superstars that belong, like Stephanie McMahon, Tiffany Stratton, Rhea Ripley, and the list goes on and on and on. Women wrestling is number one in WWE.
Right now, it's going extremely strong. 100%. It's so engaging right now. Last Evolution was fantastic. The ending of Evolution, Naomi cashing in the Money in the Bank briefcase. It was amazing. That entire PLE was fantastic. And the women's division is stronger than it ever has been. It's going extremely strong right now.
It's come a long way since my time with Fabulous Moolah.
Yeah. Are you kidding me with that? I mean, I loved what Wendy Richter. That's when I started really, and we didn't even touch the surface, Lou, in your time, in our time. The midgets. That was another. There was another Sky Low.
Sky Low.
I knew Brutus.
Little Brutus.
Listen, we have a lot to talk about, but please, I know you're very busy. But if you're not on a cruise or anything on that March, what is it, March 30th, March 29th, for the live play-by-play.
Oh, wait a minute, March.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
November
March. Sorry about that.
November 29th.
March 29th, I will be on a cruise, but I think you mean November.
November. I'm sorry. That was my bad. If you can find some time and come on with us, I think that would be a tremendous show.
Just to be like an analyst.
You guys are being just way too kind. You guys are awesome. Again, thanks for having me. I think we're at the top of the hour now, and I want to thank everyone who tuned in to listen to some of the hijinks and stories from yesteryear. Those were the days, my friend. We thought they'd never end. It was absolutely amazing. And it's so good to reconnect with you, especially you, Joey, because this is the first time that we've gotten together in, I think, 48 years.
Yeah. Yes.
Amazing.
And I'm very proud. I mean, I ask for you all the time, and we've got to have a reunion. We have to, us, Jay Rosen, we all, if we could get it done, that would be amazing. Maybe
where's that bum Robert DJ Rizzo? Why isn't he on camera with us?
To be honest with you, he probably went to sleep, because you know him. He's got to have that beauty sleep. You know him as a producer. So, but we're going to get him on, but we can't thank you enough. I hope you enjoyed it as much as we did. We are. And please come back, Louis. Please think
Yes.
about it.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, guys. Let's not be two ships passing in the night.
You have a good one.
All right. See ya. Thank you. All right. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to this week's episode. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Thank you guys all for tuning in and supporting the channel. Do not forget that on November 29th, we are going to be having our live play-by-play and commentary of Survivor Series. I'm pretty sure Survivor Series starts at 7 p.m.
Yes, it
correct me if
does.
I'm wrong. But that we're happening at 7 p.m. Come join. If you can't watch it, listen to us talk about it, or if you want to watch it and have us on the side and watch our live reactions to it, you can. Just either way, it's going to be a fun show, and we're super excited to do it. Joe, do you have any last thoughts?
No, just thank you, everybody in the chat that was here that's new. Please subscribe to NY Yankee Mania, Total Turnbuckle Talk. You see the type of stuff that's going on here. Please give a big kudos to TJ's channel. All of us, we're all one happy family. And look at all the shorts that he's put out. He does an amazing job. Some of them get 5,000, 6,000 views. We break stories that make sense, guys. And pretty soon, along with like a Lou Edwards, we are going to have a lot of guests here. So you wrestling fans, you're not going to be disappointed. Trust me when I tell you that. But we are getting closer to that Survivor Series. Yes, I am excited. I know TJ's excited. And hopefully Lou Edwards will come on with us. And you never know, we might have another surprise for you. So keep tuned, everyone. Every Friday night, right after SmackDown. And I think it was worth it that we didn't go over our regular thing just to hear Lou Edwards for 1 hour. We could have done 10 hours with the guy. Yeah. But thank you, TJ. I hope
Thank you so much.
Thank you
so much, Joe. Thank you, you too. Everyone go subscribe to New York Yankee Mania. He's doing a fantastic job over there. All
yes,
Yankee news.
I got one quick thing. One quick thing I want to say to everybody. Soon we will have TJ also in either the morning segment or one of the segments coming on and giving late news of any sort in the world of wrestling. So stay tuned to that because he is definitely part of NY Mania. So everybody, your questions, everything you want it, you can send it to me. I could send it to TJ. You can go on Total Turnbuckle Talk and ask, but you will hear more of TJ and the rest of the wrestling crew right here on NY Mania. So yes, I just want to thank TJ. TJ, take us out.
All right. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you did enjoy this, please like, subscribe, and turn on those post notifications so you never ever miss another live stream, upload, or short that either one of us posts. And don't forget, again, on November 29th, we are doing our live play-by-play and analysis of Survivor Series from San Diego. And with that, thank you guys so much for tuning in. Again, we're going to be live every night after. Directly after SmackDown. Anything else that we need to mention?
No, that's it, everyone. Have a great weekend. Enjoy, stay safe, and God bless you all. God bless America. God bless you all, and stay safe.
Yes.
TJ, you're the best. I really
too.
appreciate it.
Thank you.
And thank you for all that you do for all of us. We really
Thank you. You
appreciate
too.
it. Have a great night, everyone. Stay
Thank you.
well.